friends! Wow, has it been a week already? Have you been enjoying any winter activities? I really like going for walks in the snow. Sometimes when it gets really cold, my sister and I like to stay inside and play games like charades. Another fun indoor activity is painting, and I'm back here today to create a tape painting landscape with you. I had so much fun with our snowman ornaments and reindeer puppets that I just couldn't wait. Thank you again so much for being here. Let's get right into it. Again, let's grab our supplies. Because this is a painting, you might want to lay down some paper towels or some napkins or newspaper just to keep your surface clean. Sometimes creating a masterpiece means making a little bit of a mess, for me at least. Let's find our canvas in our craft kit and put that right down in the center of our workspace. Let's also grab some masking tape. Our paint, once again, we'll need that. And our flat paintbrush. It's a little bit bigger than the paintbrush that we used for the ornaments. If you would like, you can also grab a napkin and a cup of water to help clean your paintbrush. This isn't needed, but it might be really handy. I've been so excited for this project because it's a lot different than the other crafts that we've been creating. This is all about making a painting. I don't know if you've ever seen the inside of my castle, but the walls are full of paintings. Most of them are portraits, so I'm looking forward to having a landscape to hang up. Now, just to give you an overview of how we will create this masterpiece, we're going to put our masking tape down and make it into some tree shapes. You can actually see an example here. Paint over it, let it dry, and then peel off all of the tape. The trees will be our subject matter, which is the main image or what you're focusing on. And what we will be painting is the negative space of the painting. This is the area around the subject. You can also think of negative space sort of like a background. But in the case of this negative space, we're going to be filling it with a lot of fun colors. Let's start by placing the tape down on our canvas. We'll want to create shapes with the tape that look like trees. So let's think about what shapes trees come in. I made a few different tree shapes the last time that I made this project. One is a large triangle with a small trunk here. And then there's another one with the branches pointing downward that sort of reminds me of maybe a pine tree. And then I made another one with the branches pointing upward. So those are some options for you. Remember that this is an abstract work of art, so you can really get creative with the shapes that you're going to create. And you want to make sure that the tape is secured down pretty well when you make these, so that none of the paint sneaks up underneath. I'm going to start creating my tree. And you can make as many trees as you like, or as little. I think I'm just going to make one large tree this time since I made a couple in my last one. And let's see. I'm going to create a nice triangle shape. I think I'm going to go with this one that's sort of in the middle. And you can just tear your pieces off. You can overlap them again. Nothing has to be perfect. I do have some extra pieces of tape. I'm just going to stick over there. And let's see, this is the base of my tree. Just going to line up the tape pieces. And again, I'm pressing them down pretty hard to the canvas because I don't want paint to get underneath. And then I'm just going to add a little tree trunk on the bottom. There. I'm pretty happy with what I've done so far. And take your time too. Again, you can pause this video at any time. Once you're happy with what you have, let's get out that flat pointed paintbrush, or the flat paintbrush, and your pots of paint. For this project, we're going to be using the red and the green paint. Now we're going to cover our entire canvas in paint, and you get to decide exactly how you would like to do that. I made a swirl pattern before by painting down the red swirls first, waiting for that to dry, and then filling the empty spaces with green. That was a little complicated. Maybe you want to do dots of color, or you just want to start painting and see what happens. It's your time to experiment. Red and green are also interesting colors to work with, because if you look at a color wheel, which I do have one handy, they are on opposite sides of the wheel. See how they're directly across from each other? This means that they are something called complementary colors. This means that when you mix them together, they create a brown or a dark gray color. So you want to be careful not to mix them too much on your canvas. I think I'm going to make a very simple pattern for this one. And I'm going to use the red first, so I don't have to keep washing my brush. Be a little tricky to get open. There we go. And I'm just going to go in and let's see. I'm just going to paint some stripes. And again, nothing has to be perfect. I'm doing some stripes, but it's also a little bit abstract. And I'm just covering that, even where the tape is. And I am getting some paint on my napkin, so it's a good thing that we had that down. All right. And this paint that we're using is washable. It's an acrylic type paint, which is water-based. All right. But you do want to be careful not to get it on your clothing. And I'm still going in with that red. I really love this red color. Blue is my favorite color, but I also really like how vibrant red can be. All right, I think this is going to be the last stripe of red. And I'm painting pretty fast. You don't have to paint this fast. Again, take your time and pause this video at any point if you need to. And I'm making sure even to get paint right up into the edges because I want my whole canvas to be covered with this paint. Here we go. Almost done with that red. I made some red stripes. Kind of looks like a candy cane. Now I'm going to clean off my brush. You can go to a sink, or if you have some water nearby, you can clean off your brush. And then you want to make sure it's pretty dry. We don't want to add too much water into our paint because it does thin the paint out. And it makes it sort of like watercolors when you do that. I'm going to close up the red and then open the green. All right. My green open, and I have a clean brush that I'm dipping into the green. And let's see, I'm just going back into all the white spaces and adding in some green paint. The only white space that we're going to have left will be where the tape was. Let's see, so there's one green stripe. And painting right over that tape. The red and green look so nice together. Something about complementary colors too, the colors across from each other on the color wheel, is that they create a lot of contrast in your painting. It's sort of bright to look at when you look at the two colors together. All right, and I'm just finishing this up now. With these brush strokes too, I'm creating a lot of texture as I work. Right, and this is just the last bit. And I'm just smoothing things out a bit. Perfect. Now, let's let that dry for a bit. And I'm actually gonna go meet my reindeer friends for a cup of hot chocolate while that does dry. Perfect. It looks like my painting is all dry. Now here comes my favorite part. Are you ready to reveal your trees? Let's start by peeling off all of that tape. It can be kind of tough, so you want to try to find the ends of the tape, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And we're just going to start peeling that off. So here's the trunk. And I'm just setting my pieces of tape aside. You might need to pick up your painting as well. And here's another edge. Piece. This is looking really good. All right. I just have one piece of tape left. And there we are. The tape can kind of rip sometimes, so just make sure you go back and grab all the pieces left. There we are. Look at how magical this turned out. I'm so pleased with this painting. I think I'm gonna hang it up right away. I hope you had fun this week. This has been one of my favorite projects to work on so far, mostly because I love to paint so much. Thank you again for joining me. It's been so nice to see my friends each week. I really love seeing all of the projects that you have been sharing. If you don't mind, I would love to see your paintings, and so would the Wood Theater. Tag them on your posts on social media or email boxoffice@woodtheater.org. Looks like it's that time again to say goodbye and clean up my workspace. So goodbye for now, and I hope I see you again next week where we will make castle pencil holders. Bye, friends.